everybody, it's Bill. This week we're continuing to think about our theme of God's great big family tree, and the people who are in God's family, the things that God's family does, and the places that you can find God's family at work in the world today. This week we're looking at the story of creation and thinking about how God's family looks after creation. You've probably heard the story before, but if you take a minute to go back and read it in your Bible, in the book of Genesis, you'll notice that there are actually two creation stories. The first story, from Genesis chapter 1 through the first part of chapter 2, tells about how God created the world in 6 days and then rested on the seventh day. And the second story is a little more prosaic, whereas the first one's more poetry with days 1, 2, and 3 mirroring days 4, 5, and 6. The second story just has God creating the world and then creating man and woman, or Adam and Eve, and asking them to look after the earth. And this is the story that we'll be focusing on this morning. And we can learn a lot from these creation stories. Sometimes we get caught up in the fact that the first one talks about God creating the world in 6 days, and some people have a hard time moving beyond that. But I really don't think that's the focus of these passages. They're not meant to teach us that God is a magician, zapping things into existence. As Christians, we believe that God's able to work through evolution and chemistry and biology and quantum physics in and through all of these processes to bring our world into being. I think the more important thing to notice is that God is a source of life, that God is able to bring order out of chaotic situations, that the world that God created is good, and that we have a responsibility to look after the world. Those are the things that I think we need to focus on when we talk about these stories. We'll hear the story upstairs and then come down to discuss it. And upstairs, my friend Paddington Bear will make an appearance. You'll remember that Paddington Bear was found in a train station and he had a label on the front that said, "Please look after this bear." And I think that the creation stories remind us that God asks us to look after his world in much the same way as this bear. It's something that we're charged to look after and to make sure that it stays healthy for everyone. When we come downstairs, you'll want to gather everybody in a circle and check in to hear about the good parts of their week, things that maybe didn't go so well, and to collect the offering. And after you do that, we can move into the story. We'll read the story of creation from the Lion Storyteller Bible, and then we'll watch a short film clip. The film clips a series of pictures of landscapes and animals and plants set to Louis Armstrong's What a Wonderful World. And we'll watch this and think about all of the amazing things that God has made in our world. And after the film clips over, you can talk to the kids if they had a favorite scene from that, or if they have a favorite animal, and how amazing it is that God made all of these things, and how important it is for us to look after them to make sure that they stay healthy and survive for a long time to come. After you review the story with the kids, we'll be splitting into two groups for our activities. The younger kids in Spectrum 2 will be making crazy creatures out of felt and pom-poms and glue and some other stuff. And they'll attach those to the tree as a reminder that God's family is meant to look after all of the plants and creatures in creation. The older kids will be thinking about recycling as another way that we can look after creation. Janet Ferguson has made a quiz on how long it takes different items to decompose if they're just chucked in a landfill. And you can split the kids into groups of 2s or 3s and have them fill that out before you talk about it as a group. She'll also have some materials there that you can recycle to think about what you could make out of these. If you could reuse cans or melt down bottles to make new ones, or even use plastic to recycle and make into fleece jackets that you can use when you go camping. I hope this all goes really well. If you have some extra time after doing that, and the Spectrum 3 kids, if they want to make crazy creatures too, can go ahead and do that as well. There are a couple game ideas for a TIG game and a circle game that you can play with the kids at the end if you have extra time. And those are in the notes that are accompanying this lesson video. I look forward to hearing how it goes, and I hope you have a good weekend. Bye.